Where it's your boy Judah the Reek, and you're tuning into another episode of Extended Engineer Etiquette, man, powered by Stand Producers. What's up, everybody? Number 3, Engineer Etiquette, and that's engineer versus producer, know the difference. Now, I've seen producers get fired, heard about producers get fired, experienced a lot of different things where engineers kind of overstep their boundaries and try to play that producer role or wear that producer hat when they're not really supposed to. From demanding changes to a song, to suggesting different ways to sing certain parts, to even just telling them that they don't like the track and they should do something else in their own direction. Things like that could get you fired. Things like that could get you in trouble. Things like that could get you replaced real quick. There's a bunch of other engineers that just finished school or who, have learned on their own long enough and they've really, interned anywhere. And you could be replaced like that. So for that to be the reason, you have to kind of check your ego and you really have to leave that stuff at the door. Being an engineer is really, being and thinking outside of yourself, especially if you are a producer at heart. Being an engineer, it's about making sure somebody else sounds great. Instead of, maybe working on your own music or suggesting, your own beats, to an artist. You know what I'm saying? There's a time and a place for all that. If you have a session where the producer is there, they're gonna make your job a lot easier, especially if they're a solid producer. They're there to help, coach the artist, make sure that, the vision is painted and we go the direction that's gonna take us to make a good record. You know what I'm saying? The producer's just gonna tell you as an engineer, do this, fly this hook, chop this, do the bridge, that's all. If there's no producer, it's just you and the artist, which is most of the time, you always have to look at it from a technical point of view, okay? Like if you're saying, you're clipping, you're too loud, stand back from the microphone, I hear that you're moving from side to side or that you're reading the phone like this. Those are just suggestions and critiques just so that me as an engineer, I get the performance right. That isn't, you should say it like this, and like some whole other way. Or saying, you should sing it like this and just try to show off the fact that, you could sing and stuff like that. If the producer's there, they're there to give advice on the creative side. You have to kind of pick and choose. If the artist is kind of asking for it and they don't know where to go, and if you can kind of work with them, I think the key words there are that they are asking for it and that you're willing to work together. Don't just be Diddy and then just don't go from just being an engineer to being DJ Khaled in 2 seconds. Now, there's certain genres where the engineer kind of is the producer, where they're kind of really all into the effects, the feel, the vibe, and everything. That's rock, a lot of salsa, you know what I'm saying? What else? Classical music, genres like that. Sometimes pop, but not really that much. It's kind of the producer's really there. They might kind of work together on that one. From the client's point of view, all right, if you're an artist, you sing, you rap, you guys should understand the difference between engineer and producer as well, all right? If you come to a session, you book some time with an engineer in the studio, you can't just tell them to make a beat for you, number one. Number two, if we import a beat from YouTube, and if you wanted to add some crazy bass line or any type of instrumentation outside of the beat, we're engineers. The producer is a producer for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I always encourage artists and producers to work together so they could kind of, collaborate more. But if you're getting beats from other platforms, that's what you have to work with. An engineer could do drops, you know what I'm saying? Things like that, little tape stop effect, delays, effects, things that kind of deal with the sound that we have and what we could make use with what we have. It's about the sounds that are there, the sounds that are given, and make the most out of what we have, and make the best out of what we have. Engineers are there to record you, make sure you sound right, make sure they capture the best performance that they can out of you, and to make the best mix they can off the, music that you bring to them. Overall, just understand that there's a thin line between engineer and producer, and then it just comes down to whether it's a creative suggestion versus a technical suggestion. There's wiggle room for the two, but just make sure you stay the course, all right? Try to remind yourself, is this a creative decision or is this a technical decision? Am I suggesting it or am I demanding it? Try to keep that in mind, man, because it could really save you a headache. It might even save you a job, man. And that's this week's Engineer Etiquette, man. Holla at your boy, Jimmy Rico. We're proud.